So yeah, welcome to the podcast. I'm excited for this episode because this is the first episode of our segments, and Victorio has no clue what we're going to talk about. This one I planned and put together the notes for, so you'll see me if you're watching the video, which will be on YouTube. If you're listening to it, by the way, the first couple, Vicky and I got together in person, as you know, and this one's going to be on YouTube as well. So check out our channel. You could see the video of it and see how great we look. We've aged a little bit, but we still look great. So this podcast today is going to be on topic, and Vicky has no idea, and I'm just pushing it just to see how much more I can get out of it.
I am, yeah. I'm very interested. This is going to be the first time that you hear this, obviously, and then it's going to be the first time that I know what the hell is going to go on.
So you have no idea what we're about to talk about. Okay, let's jump into it. The name of today's podcast is I want to come up with a funny one and not the actual one, but the real name is Beyond Borders: The Life of a Traveling Trader.
No,
so
that's okay. That's gonna be pretty fun, actually. I'm amped.
I was thinking about it. I'm like, man, for the better part of the last 4 years you've been traveling, you just recently settled down. So
yeah,
that's what I want to talk to you about today. I think it's like, you see traveling and trading portrayed in so many different ways, but I wanted to really nail down the reality of it. And obviously there's fun. We're going to talk about that as well, but also like the actual challenges. Like, you've traveled a lot since you left home. Like, how many places would you say you've been to?
I counted not too long ago, but I can't remember the number. It's around 20.
20?
Yeah, around 20 countries.
How long do you spend on average in each one?
It depends. Like, there have been countries that I've been there for 2 days. Yeah. Which was a terrible decision. Like, if it's not on a weekend, terrible decision. But if I'm there on the weekday, I'm fumbling around because it's usually completely different time zone. Trying to get my trade set up, my screen set up to trade and everything going, and it's usually not a good trading day.
Yeah,
when you have to fumble that much, when you have such a short period of time, you don't have time to prep and do your thing. It's not ideal. But the longest I've stayed in a place was 4 months. The shortest probably 2 days.
Where were those places?
So 2 days. It's happened a few times, but a few times in Greece. Cyprus was very short, which is it's not Greece, but same language. But anyways. And then the longest time was in Tenerife in Spain, the Canary Islands.
So you loved it that much, stayed 4 months?
I honestly booked a flight. So it was split between 2 periods. I booked a flight there in the winter because it was it's going to be warm, and I was in Europe. I'm I'm not staying in a cold place in the winter. And I'm what's the most southern place I can get? And I look at Canary Islands. It's right beside Africa. It's so far from mainland Spain, and I'm it has to be hot there.
Yeah.
And I went there for 2 months originally. I just booked the flight. I had no idea what I was getting myself into. So Tenerife is a pretty small island. From one side to the other, it's about 150 kilometers, let's say. Wow. From north to south. It's about an hour and a half drive to go from. It's very small, but very nice. And all I saw was pictures. I did tiny bit of research, and I was 2 months going there, going back to Bulgaria to spend time with my family for Christmas. And then immediately after that, a week after that, I went back for another 2 months.
Wow, so you loved it that much?
Yeah,
and you picked it by just looking at the map?
Yeah, I picked it looking at the map, and obviously being okay, December, November, December, January, February, what is the temperature like?
Yeah,
around 20 degrees Celsius. I don't know what that is in Fahrenheit, but for everyone in the States, but around 20 degrees Celsius, I'm that is probably the hottest I'll get if I don't go to Greece or something.
That's perfect temperature though.
It was, yeah.
That's great temperature. It's not hot enough to be uncomfortable, but it's perfect for winter temperature.
I wore jackets sometimes there. In the evening times, it's a little chillier, but throughout the day, I went to the beach as well.
This is what you guys know about Victorio, is that he's so structured in his trading. Every time I see a professional at work that's very structured, I always wonder, I'm where are they an animal in their life?
The rest of it.
Exactly. The rest of it's a good way to say it, because it's you are spontaneous. People don't realize that.
Yeah.
He was a trading robot, but this guy's traveled so much, and we kind of laugh and say Victorio's a robot, but it's a good thing, And
when it comes to trading, it has to be super serious, very focused and real. But in terms of other aspects in life, kind of space cadet.
Exactly. I mean, I embrace that. Me too. I was a space cadet at work too. So I didn't really have anything organized in my life. Okay, so probably the most important question of this whole podcast that everyone's wondering, and it'd be the one that they get the most value out of,
Yeah.
is what is the craziest story you have from your travels? Like,
I knew it was gonna be
that'd be
something ridiculous.
appropriate.
I gotta think about this one realistically. Like, I'd probably like. There's two that come to mind. I don't know like how crazy they are, but like probably my best memories, my most fun time memories, um, would either have to be they're like kind of inappropriate, but like whatever. So
Yeah, I say it is semi-appropriate. I
like,
directly have it. So let's just maybe
like
word it a little.
whatever.
This is the first episode we're back, you know?
Like so before, now that I've aged, right? Like a lot of my stress relief, which is like going out, like fuck, I love to
Partying.
party, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Like that was like a huge component. And like going to Europe, like you can go to like cool places, like Mykonos is like that's like party central, you
Yeah.
know, like you can go to like Ibiza, stuff like that. But surprisingly, I have been to those places, but those aren't like the weirdest, craziest times realistically. And like what's funny is when you leave the Balkans in Europe, like the I guess alcohol consumption, the longevity of alcohol consumption, the partying is drastically different, you know, because like I didn't necessarily like I don't go to these places by myself a lot, right? Like usually I'll go with like a few friends or something, but like on occasion, like let's say 30% of the time I'll go by myself. But both of these situations were with friends. The first one, Tenerife, when I was there for like a very extended period of time, like some of my friends came to visit for like 2 weeks. And like I said, you got to keep in mind that the expectation of alcohol consumption and like longevity of alcohol consumption is very different from the Balkans versus literally the rest of Europe, maybe the world.
Because this is about to get bad. This is about to get bad.
Because my friends and I in Bulgaria, like it's a lot of drinking. It is a lot of drinking. It's a lot of alcohol consumption.
It's a culture.
It is a culture. You stay out until 8 a.m. like, and you're drinking the whole time from like 8 to 8, like a 12-hour shift of drinking. And like it's no one's telling you gotta like kill like copious amounts of alcohol, but you got like a little sip like going for like the whole
Yeah, a little buzz.
And like we're in Tenerife and we go to this like fancy club, dress code, all that shit. I did not know that. Like we were dressed appropriately, but we didn't know how fancy this thing was, and it was like one of the biggest clubs, the fanciest clubs / bar at it was a rooftop hotel.
Oh.
And like, it was like bumping, going crazy. And we go there and we've already had like a bunch of drink realistically. We get like a table, booth, blah, blah, blah. Everything's good to go. And like, I've gone up maybe several times to get more alcohol.
Yeah.
And like the lady at the bar looks at me and she's like, we got to cut you off. Like, and I'm like, I'm not that like drunk. Like we've had stuff to drink, but I'm not like incoherent. Like I'm talking to her, my very limited Spanish, like, cause no one on that island speaks fucking English. Like
that's what happens. You pick places off the map, bro.
It's like not that I hate on that. Like I like that they embrace their culture. I made my effort to speak. One of my best friends in Bulgaria, fluent in Spanish. He lived in Spain for years, so he was with me, which is great.
Oh, nice. Yeah, that helped.
Yeah, so that helped because like mine's like super limited.
You look Spanish too. People are probably like a little like
they just start wherever I go in Europe. They just speak whatever language, like country I'm in. They just assume that I know it, and I'm like fair. Like you know what, fair because it's their country. Like I fully support that. But like we're there, I get cut off at the bar like instantaneously, almost like 3 drinks, and I'm like, what the hell just happened? So I turn around, I go to her direct bartending partner, I'm like, pour me a drink. He's like, okay. So she looks at him, she looks at me, she's like, all right, whatever. So this continues on, like I get a few more drinks and like, I'm fine. Keep in mind, no problematic behavior, not drunk, not even stumbling, not slurring words, nothing. Very normal because like, again, training.
So you're a happy drunk.
Yeah, like everything is good to go. We're having conversation, this and that. And like, the security guard comes up to me, starts yapping in Spanish, like super fast. And I'm like, dude, I understand maybe 40% of that. Like, you're going to have to slow it down. So my friend jumps in, Spanish speaker. He's like, translates to me. He's like, listen, he said, you're way too drunk. Like, one more drink and you're getting kicked out. And I'm like, what the hell? As this is happening, the drunkest guy in the bar goes flying through 3 tables behind me. Like, it's like the most perfect timing of all time. He just like dismantles everything. This guy's like off his ass. And I'm like, I turn around, I turn to my friend, I turn to the security guard, and he's like, you know what? You're okay. Like, you enjoy the night, brother. I have something else to take care of. And I'm like, this is ridiculous. And I'm like, wow, really? Like, that's, see, I'm not drunk. I'm like, I'm fine, man. But like, they like count your drinks there or something. Like,
Yeah.
they're like, okay, like clearly this guy's had like too much to drink, like blah, blah. I'm like, I'm fine. Like, yeah, of course I was drunk, but like nowhere near anything inappropriate. Like,
You know what I think happened there, Vicky? I think you trying to speak Spanish.
they were like, it's just so messed up.
They're like, he forgot how to speak. They thought you were Spanish.
Probably they're like, nah, this guy's off his rocker. Like,
And you're
stop,
like,
stop, sir.
senor. Like, cut off.
They're like, this is it for this guy.
Because you, bro, you look, honestly, you have the look of like a Spanish person. It's not,
No, it is like it's fair,
yeah,
honestly.
he
Like,
looks Spanish, so they're probably like, he's so drunk.
yeah, this guy can't even speak. Like, that's like, that was like one of like the best moments I think. And like,
classic. Like, how was he flying? Like a Superman? Like,
I don't know what happened because like I was like my back was facing him, like so like I just turned around and like I see him kind of like midair, like thrown through like multiple tables. Whether he jumped someone through him, he slipped. I don't know exactly what happened, but like it's a nice place. Keep in mind you have to get the setting right. Like this is a bougie ass place. Like think of like one of the most bougie places you have in your city.
Yeah.
Elegant. Like people, like half the people are in suits. Right? Like the other half of people are like nicely dressed, you know, like no skin is showing. You're not like women like have to be like in dresses or something.
Yeah,
you know, like it's like a more elegant, like sophisticated place. And like this guy suited up, like tie around his head or whatever.
Yeah.
He's just flying through tables. And I'm like, you got to be kidding me. Like,
That's hilarious. For the interview segment, we got to find that guy. I got to know what happened.
He wasn't Spanish, though. He was not Spanish. I know that for sure.
That's a great story.
Yeah.
That's a great story. I want to slide into a little bit more now of like the productive discussion, because I think one of the first things you start to fantasize about when you're a trader, this could be a weird sentence, but you start to fantasize about like the freedom of it, you know?
Yeah.
Other things too in your dark mind that we can't talk about on the podcast, but it's like one of the biggest differences of trading as a career is that now the world is open for you. Anywhere could be your office. So I was just curious, how has trading from different locations around the world change your perspective on the markets? Like, has it given you some insight? Or
yeah, well, let me start with this. Like, I thought realistically, like obviously you see a lot of stuff on social media and you think it's gonna be like easy, you know, like glamour and like you trade like a few hours here, you're in a beautiful tropical place, you go and enjoy your day and like whatnot. The reality of the situation is like I needed to find a base. Like I couldn't keep doing that. I feel like that's all you need to know. Like the aspect of like trading on the road and like trading different time zones and specifically at different time zones, you have to know when the time zones are, because like I usually trade the RTH, the New York Session Open. So like that's a big factor. When I'm in Europe, it's midday. Like it's in the middle of the day. You got to drop all your stuff. Like whatever you're doing, you got to go and sit in front of the computer, because realistically that's how I am able to be there. So like
yeah,
it's like it's a lot of scheduling. It can be like disruptive if you're with other people. It can be like nerve-wracking as well, because you trade into the night, right? Like you can't necessarily do that many social events, especially if you're like down to the day and you kind of want to like get to a respectable level. Like it's a huge mental toll as well, because you're in a different place. You're probably not familiar with that place. You have to be way more focused than you would if you had a home base and you had your own office. So like I was trading smaller, less frequently, but like one of the big aspects that did help was the different time zones, because in the futures market, the things close an hour a day, right?
Yeah.
So like you have multiple different sessions to trade from. So a lot of my trading became adapted to the European session, right? So depending on where you are, it could be 7 a.m., 9 a.m. in the morning, Europe time. And a lot of like my better trades and my trading style has adapted towards that morning session, where it's not like day trading, but it's like trying to find one good trade realistically that you think you can run for the entirety of the session, because it's so slow, but the trajectory of the trades and like the potential of the movements is like very big. So like realistically, I could have one trade a day and be done, but like there are times that it doesn't work out. So you have to go back, you have to sit down, and like obviously I love running the trading room and like being a part of the community. And that's a responsibility as well. You have to understand what time that is at, and you got to drop everything. That's just the reality of it, right? Like, so whether it's midday, 2 p.m., 1 p.m., 3 p.m., 4 p.m., or different time zones, and you have to adjust to that and like trade, help people out, right? Do that into the night, into whenever that time is, until the market closes. So like it's a very difficult thing if you're popping from place to place, because like a lot of people think, okay, I just need my laptop and I can like set up in a day. Like I did not feel that way. I felt like at least needed like 2 weeks in a place to trade like a little more comfortably. First 2 days is like kind of figuring things out, being a little more comfortable with my settings. And then from there you can get like, you can progress. And then next thing you know, you're on a plane again for another 2 weeks somewhere else.
Yeah, yeah.
And I'm like, geez, this is getting like very exhausting. Like moving from place to place is very exhausting, realistically.
I think young people love that, but honestly, like moving, like working as I travel always gave me anxiety. I'm kind of one of the people that, like, it was never my dream. Like my wife, Reese, the time, my fiance, actually at the time, my girlfriend, like she loved traveling and I hated it, man. Like we go to some places, there's no internet access. I'm calling resorts like ahead of time and they're like, our internet's good. And then I'm like, to what standard? What is,
Yeah, whose standard?
yeah, I'm getting them to run like speedtest.net at like hotels.
Yeah.
Give me screenshots. It was just like very, very stressful. So I'm curious, like, honest question, if you didn't have to do the trading room duties, would you prefer to not trade while traveled, or was it something you actually started liking?
No, like I like it. Like I do like it. I just think that like obviously if I didn't have to trade at all, just going from place to place would be fantastic. Like,
yeah.
it's like I feel like you do it for long enough, because like the first year and a half to 2 years that I was gone, like I did it a lot.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
And then like
Went up better.
after I like settled down a lot, but I was still like doing, like I had my responsibilities and like I was still trading, I was still active in the room, I was doing everything. But it's a lot more anxiety like provoking and
Yeah,
stressful than you might think it is. And like realistically, if I didn't have to do like a lot of those responsibilities, I'd probably trade whatever session I'm in and have like 1-2 trades and just like be done with it. But like it's still a huge factor of like comfort in the kind of area that you're in, right? Your habitat, like where you're trading and like what's going on there. And like having to move all the time is like ridiculous. So like I think
Yeah.
if you're thinking about traveling and trading, like I think it's fantastic, but you have to set your expectations realistically. Like I wouldn't go somewhere for a week and do it, you know?
Mhm.
Like I'd at least, like now that I know, like when I do go places, I go for a month, right?
Nice.
Like I'll go for a month, everything is set up, like I'm still doing everything, but I need that time to adjust. I need that time to like adjust the time, like my setup, like how I'm feeling, right? Like everything that comes with the environment is like a huge proponent of that. Like I still do it from time to time, but like I said, like I need minimum a month's time, and then obviously you do have other responsibilities and whatnot. So like,
That's awesome. Yeah, that's good. Like like you said, right? It gives you time to acclimatize. Probably gives you time to get like a better experience too out of that.
yeah,
You take in
exactly.
more of the culture.
Yeah, because like when I'm going somewhere for like 2 weeks and I'm trading for like 50% of the day, and then like the rest of the day I'm like exhausted, like from like going and seeing everything I possibly can. It's just like it is too much. Like it is a lot. Like you can trade for like 2 to 3 hours, which I've done a lot too throughout the day, and that's it. You can go and enjoy everything else, but like I do still want to have that kind of environment that I'm comfortable in. And I've just noticed for me personally, it just doesn't happen within a week, you know? Like I think it's one of the best things about trading, that you can like literally go anywhere in the world, especially when it comes to like futures trading. You can go anywhere in the world. The time zones, it doesn't really matter that much. It's just like, it depends on the person and their personality.
Right.
Right. Like I do know some traders that go like boom, 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 like throughout the world and whatever. But I know some, like this one trader I know, he's been in Japan for maybe like 6 months, and he's like, the times are crazy. Like I'm up in the middle of the night. However, right, I have this structured life here right now for the next, like, let's say a year or so, and it works well, right? You do have to make some sacrifices here and there, like when you're sleeping and this and that, but you don't, like with the futures market, you don't really have to. You can trade different time zones and whatnot. But I think personally, there's obviously massive pros which outweigh the cons, but you have to be aware of the cons as well going into it. Because, like, for example, this was this summer actually. I went to Greece for a few weeks, and like I arrived there the day of 10 and 11 in the morning, same time zone as Bulgaria, so there's no time change. And I know I'm trading from 4 p.m. So I arrived there earlier in the morning, like settled by early afternoon, but like still not like settled, you know?
Yeah.
Like still not where I want to be. Yeah.
A settlement.
Terrible trading day. Should have just fucking left, you know? Like it wasn't great. Like obviously within my risk parameters, I took my max loss and walked away, but like these are things that you do have to consider when trading. It's not like, okay, here's my laptop, let me just open that thing up, click 3 times, and then I'm done. Like it doesn't matter where I am. Like there's prep that's involved in it. And like trading as a whole is just a very serious and focused like career path, and you have to instill that routine and that discipline no matter where you go. The great thing is you can do it anywhere, but like for me it's like I need time.
So I wanted to kind of dig into that. It's funny, that's the question I was going to ask you, because when I was thinking of how to structure this episode, I'm like, do I ask you these questions that reveal little like nuggets here and there and then let the listener put the picture together? But I kind of decided on a different approach. I wanted to ask you, like, take us through like step by step trading related, like basically you get on a flight, you get off, how do you set up, like what technology you trade with, what prep work do you do to feel comfortable, and then more importantly, how do you take your environment that you're comfortable with at home and your routine and then like apply that at a new location?
Yeah, that's a good question. So like first things first, like internet's super important. Like I honestly like I have a great plan. The European plans are like way better than any Canadian plan that I've gone through. Like internet's like fire.
Yeah.
Internet's fire. So like I just connect my phone internet to my computer internet. Like I have I think it's like 30 gigs a month within the EU of data.
Oh wow, so no roaming charges?
No. Like it's like 30 or 40, I don't know what it is, but like when I'm in Bulgaria, because that's where my plan is from, it's like unlimited 100% everything. So when I go somewhere for that like extended period of time, I just make sure my like phone's stacked. Maybe I buy a little more internet. So like if I'm there for a month, maybe I have like 100 gigs, which is like, it's like some pennies in Bulgaria.
So your most important part is your phone charger.
Yeah, exactly.
That's your whole modem. You're tethering.
Yeah, pretty much. Like that, because the internet's like great, right? Like I've never had an issue with it. It's fantastic. Now I have to make sure that's like 100%. Now recently I've thought about this. I'm going to get a Starlink Mini.
Oh, the Elon Musk.
Yeah.
How does that work?
Well, you need what's
money to buy.
You need money to buy. You need electricity. It's very simple. Like you pay like a monthly plan and you set that thing up wherever you are, and like as long as there's connectivity in that country, you're good to go.
Whoa, what are the speeds you get up at?
It depends. Like I've seen some people with like gigs, like multiple like gigs, but I've seen like I think like the lowest I've seen from someone in the middle of absolutely nowhere in a mountain was like 150 megs or something.
That's enough.
Yeah,
actually
for sure.
What's the plan like cost wise?
So it's in Bulgaria because every country is different. Like I'll be getting it from Bulgaria because like
you're lucky. It's gonna be way less.
Yeah, it is way less because like that's where I have my like permanent residence.
Wait, can you get one for me and just give me the device?
Probably.
They should give you money for the plan.
Probably.
Are you willing to do it for them too?
For everyone. Yeah. I'm like the Starlink dealer.
The Starlink dealer. Elon's gonna cut you off, bro.
He's gonna listen to this shit.
Yeah.
Like it's I haven't sorry, it's about like I don't know the exact price because I have to buy the hardware too, but it's not like super expensive like the mini one. But it's about like 45 euros a month for the internet, which is like
that's like satellite internet.
It's like fire internet. Because like if I'm in like if I go somewhere within the EU, like there's a very, very low chance I'm gonna be camping outside in a mountain somewhere. It's gonna be like a city, you know, so like there's gonna be connectivity regardless.
So bro, that might make the actual phone plan a little bit of an aside, but the phone plan extinct, because if you have internet everywhere and you have Wi-Fi,
you're right, but like sometimes I do need the phone too, but like I did think about that as well, because like maybe I don't even need the phone.
You know how that Joe Rogan, what was the guy's name that he produces the podcast and searches things on the internet?
Oh my god, I don't know, but I know.
Yeah. We need one of those guys. Call him Steve. Like, Steve, look up the price data.
Because like other places in the EU, I've talked to people in the EU about like Starlinks, and they're like between like 60 and like 80, 90 euros compared to Bulgaria. It's like 40, 45.
See, that's amazing, because one of the big things for me when I was traveling at the time, mind you, this is a long time ago, is the connectivity to the internet was the biggest unknown, and no matter what research you did, until you get there, you have no idea.
Yeah,
like Mexico, I was getting like 700 kilobytes per second. It took me 10 minutes to check my email. And the lady's like, oh yeah, you could use it for up to an hour. She's like, you could check your email. And I laughed, but then it took me an hour to check my email. So that's a huge piece to know for anyone curious.
It is, yeah. The
Like
Darling Mini, man, like great investment. If you don't have like crazy like phone plans and whatnot, like that's a huge investment. Like hardware is a big factor too, because like I've got two, because I'll use a laptop, right? I just recently got a new laptop that's like I think like 16 or 18-inch screen, which is like pretty freaking
the
big.
Surface, right?
Yeah, it's pretty big.
Yeah.
So that alone is pretty big, but I also have two HDMI connected screens to that, which are both 18 inches. So they're like, that's not small.
Huge.
Yeah.
Like, is it LCD or like you don't travel with actual monitors?
No. They're like portable, like
The ones that clip on the back.
they don't clip on, but like they have their little stand.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah, and they just like connect either USB-C or like HDMI.
Would you be willing to share some pictures?
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
We'll add on the
Yeah,
podcast.
we'll get the links to those.
Yeah.
Because like they're fire. They're like 18 inches. They're like great. I got 3 monitors that are like 18 inches each, and like that's like obviously it's not a 27-inch, but like realistically it does an amazing job. Like everything's like crystal clear. It's fine.
See, when I traveled and I looked at less information, that's when I actually did better. And I didn't think it was a correlation, but I'm like, now I only have the info because you can't bring all your monitors.
But that's the thing. Like, remember when we were trading in office, like we'd have like 6 monitors each?
That was for show.
It honestly was, because like ever since we left the office, I've been using 2.
Yeah, man. Well, I remember we were shooting YouTube videos in the office, and like it was facing the monitor. I had to like duplicate chart screens and pop them out.
But like legit, like I just like spread out like massive charts, and I'm like, I don't need to see this that big. Like it's not that relevant.
I mean, look, for the traders just starting out, the more monitors you have, the more serious trader you are. You know what I mean?
You look more serious.
I had to have 8. Yeah, Netflix was on one of them the whole time.
I'm looking at 2 products. How many monitors could I possibly need?
Yeah, exactly. It's funny. Okay, so you have that's good. You have your internet. It's reliable. Anywhere you go, you're bringing the internet with you.
Yeah.
That's a big step. So, okay, so you have your internet. You show up, for example, at a hotel or whatever, the place you're staying at the meeting. You check in. What's your next process after that?
My next process, honestly, before I even check into places, like when I'm booking places, I usually go like Airbnbs and like booking or whatever, because I want to make sure that I can see like what's in it. Because like I need a table that's like adequate, and like some kind of chair that looks like comfortable realistically.
Yeah.
Like I don't want to be trading off a couch or like a little like futon or like whatever it is, or like an ottoman, put my like laptops and shit on it.
Yeah.
Like, that's like ridiculous. Like I need to make sure that there's adequate like desk space, whether it's like a dinner table or something. Like if it's like nice and there's like a good chair behind it, like that's like a main key. Everything else, honestly, like I really don't care.
You don't care about like an enclosed space, like a separate bedroom.
No, I'll get like something like semi-bougie, realistically.
Because if you're traveling, you're not traveling alone, I assume.
Well, it depends. Like if I'm traveling alone, like I'll still like it'll be like a 2-bedroom place, realistically.
Right.
Like if I'm like with other people, like we get these like massive villas and shit, because there's usually like a bunch of people.
So then when you have other people, you're probably looking for a space where you could.
Yeah, exactly. And like generally, like if these are like huge villas, it's infinite space, and there's like even designated office spaces when you get like a big place like that.
I know what it's like traveling with guys that are like younger, and I gotta say, when you're looking at the monitor, when you look beyond the monitor, you've probably seen some stuff in these.
They're not even there, man. They're they're somewhere else doing like some other shit, like which is great.
I went snowboarding with Alex, and I actually was doing the training room, and one Alex was like literally walked by. He did like a little like went like naked completely. I'm like, oh my god, we're trying to throw me off. But I'm like, I don't. But yeah, anyways,
that's a huge component, because like I'm a big environment guy. Like when it comes to trading, like I need everything to be like pretty pristine, because it's a lot of risk. You have to be 100% focused, and I take that very seriously. So like I'm gonna invest, if I'm going somewhere, I'm gonna invest in like something that's like very adequate realistically. Wow. And make sure that like the space is good, and like I'm not gonna say soundproof, but like there is some kind of there's a peace element to it.
All right, cool. So that checks out. Like on a B&B, you book the space that's going to give you an environment that you know you could set up in. So then what do you do next? You show up at the B&B.
I show up, I honestly just connect all my stuff right away, like the monitors, whip them all out, like computer, open everything, open the Sierra chart, first thing I do.
Yeah.
And then we'll obviously plug the internet in, and then I'll just open up my chart book, sit down. Honestly, I'll need, even if I'm not trading that day, like an hour at least, just to like see what's going on. Maybe I missed something, catch up with some people in the community, whatnot, and like get everything sorted. So I'm like mentally prepared, putting myself in that space to be able to like, okay, if I'm going to be here for a month, right, I got to know what I'm getting myself into, right? Let's say like, maybe I don't like the chair or whatever, but that's like, those are small things. But
Yeah.
like, I gotta sit there and like go through the markets, go through everything, make sure that I'm like just throwing myself 100% into what is happening and what's going on with the markets if I've missed anything, which usually is the case, like, because I don't really travel on weekends.
Yeah.
It's just like a zoo on weekends, and like the flights are crap. So like I'll leave on like a Friday, right? So like the Friday, I've probably missed like maybe half of the day, let's say. Like I won't leave like Friday morning, but I'll probably leave like at like 1 p.m. Eastern time. I've missed like the close.
Right.
So like I want to make sure that I understand what happened there. Like obviously I'll check in on it on Saturday and Sunday, do the market analysis, right? Set that out for everyone in the community, and then like do that stuff. But I want to make sure that like I'm comfortable immediately, right? So like right away I'm in there. Like I'm not gonna be like, oh, I just took like a 3-hour flight, I gotta go get like a beer and like dinner. Like, no, I don't care about that. That's irrelevant information. Like, it's like I need to be focused because it's a very serious thing.
Yeah, for sure. So okay, so you're there, you have your space, you've done like your setup, and then like obviously go out to have dinner, do whatever, have fun. The next day you start trading. Like, what is your daily prep and routine like before the market opens?
I like to keep my daily prep the same, regardless of where I am, because like then it just like throws things off. Like even if I have to make the sacrifice to wake up earlier than other people to kind of like do what I want to do and do the right thing, like I'll do it because I know that let's say the market's gonna open at 3 p.m. where I'm at. Like I know that I have to be home by 1, right? I want that time, so I'm not just like sitting down jumping into shit. Like I need that time, right? Yeah. So like morning routines, like generally I do work out in the mornings. I'll go explore the city probably after, get a coffee, something, like sit down, like just little sightseeing and whatnot after I always make sure that there's an available gym that doesn't have a what's it called? Like a locked in like long-term plan, like the city that I'm in, because like I want to go to work out, but like I don't mind paying day by day, but I don't want to be there and like sign up for a month and they're billing me a year later.
Bro, I've always thought of that as like a good opportunity for a business to have some kind of program that gives you access to like different gyms. Like
there is in Europe.
There is. They have that.
Yeah, in Europe.
I don't think of any new ideas anymore.
In Europe, they've got it all figured out.
That's why I left TRADEPRO to start this business. Yeah. And now you're telling me this? Oh my God.
Market cap in Europe is like,
I'm ruined. Not in Canada, though.
Yeah, in Canada, maybe not.
In North America, like, they don't have that.
In Europe, especially... Okay, so in Bulgaria, there's this thing, it's called multisport, where it's like a card that you pay, like... I think, like, if we talk about US dollars, it's like $60 a month, let's say. Yeah. And it gives you access to all the gyms in Bulgaria, regardless of what kind of gym it is. It could be, like, a Pulse. It could be a Fit for whatever. I don't know what the names are, but... Yeah, whatever gyms I go to Pulse, by the way, but whatever gyms you go to, you use the multi-sport card and you like go there. Now there's a gym, it's like an orange brand. I think it's like Nordic. I can't remember what the name is, but it's the same in Europe. They have them everywhere in Europe. All of the countries pretty much, like maybe not the Balkans, but like if you're in a more developed country, like they'll have that gym. Yeah. There's a shitload of them in the city. So like I had a pass for that for about like a year, and like whatever country I'd go to, I just like go to that gym.
That's nice. I remember when I was in Bulgaria, my cousin was like, "Shiko, I'm in the Pulsa. But yeah, like Pulsa is a nice one out there.
Well, yeah, like fitness stuff, like whether it's like going for some kind of cardio or like some kind of fitness, like I think it's like important for trading realistically. Like I like to keep healthy, so I'm not like lethargic and like my brain's mush when I'm like looking at these markets. Like I think it's a very important factor realistically in performance, because like it helps you with the disciplinary factor, because if you're disciplined enough to go to the gym, it doesn't have to be the gym, right? I'm using it as an example, but like some kind of healthy activity, whether you're going for like a walk, a run, whatever it is, you have that discipline in your day, right? You have some kind of routine to it. But it does translate to the discipline and routine that you take to like trading. So whenever I go traveling, I want to be like same routine as I am normally, but like my free time is now spent going sightseeing, hanging out with my friends that are there.
Sightseeing.
Yeah. Those are the evening sightseeing.
Yeah.
Well, like, yeah, going into like because the day is free realistically in Europe. Because if I'm trading the RTH, like it starts like 3, 4 p.m. If I'm home by like 2 the latest, let's say, and I'm waking up at like pretty early, like I do generally wake up like without, like my sleeping in is like 8, like, yeah, it's just what I'm used to. So like even if I wake up then, I'll still have like 4 or 5 hours to do like so many things.
Yeah.
And it's not like by the end of the day, you know, like I don't have to stay until market close, right? I sell until like 2 p.m. Eastern time, right? And I miss like the last 2 hours, not the end of the world, right? You've already traded for like 4 or 5 hours before that. So like you leave then, you go, you have a nice dinner with your friends, you go see a few other things, right? Maybe you go, you get drunk, whatever.
Yeah.
And then you repeat.
So that's awesome. So it sounds like when you're doing this traveling and trading, like there's different gyms you'll go to. You obviously different tables, different chairs, different like villas, but the routine is the same. You're doing the same things, maybe in different places. So like, is being active and like doing something physical before you trade something you do like almost every day?
Every day.
Yeah,
every day.
You know, that's interesting because I actually saw a study not too long ago pertaining to children. Like the kids who were active before they went to school retain more information at school. Something about activity that like turns on your brain that has longer lasting effects than just the activity itself.
Activity wakes you up. Like it, like I don't know the exact science behind it, right? I've read, I was into working out for a very long time, very seriously, but like it, like
Bro, you competed in body.
Yeah, like it wakes your body up and your mind up, right? Everything flows fluidly when you work out. That's why like a lot of the times when you do work out in the evenings late at night, it is harder to go to sleep.
Yeah,
it's like it's an activity that wakes you up, like whatever kind of workout it is. It's something that like I like to start my day with because I'm like super alert. Like I woke up at 5 today to go to the gym because like I had a bunch of shit to do throughout the day, right? Like we're recording podcasts. I know that we have to do that. Did the trading room because I'm not in European hours. I can't start trading at 4 p.m. here.
Yeah.
So like I'm at my desk at like 8 the latest. So before that, if I'm not working out before that, there's nowhere the rest of the day because tonight I have other plans. Like it's not gonna fit.
Yeah.
So like having that, and it's good because when you work out in the mornings, it just like, especially if you're trading in the mornings, it wakes you up. You are alert. Like you are there. You're focused. You're 100% there. That's like one of the big aspects that I need when it comes to like focus in trading. Like this is obviously a personal aspect, but I've heard that it helps other people as well. Like I'm not saying, okay, you start working out, you're gonna be the best trader of all time, but like you will be more focused.
Yeah, you got a better chance.
You will be more focused. You're gonna be more alert, realistically.
Your body's your temple too, right? I find like the way you treat. Remember, like your energy source is, you know, like your body exerts energy. So it's like if you're in control of that cycle, you know, and you train yourself. Because I guess what I'm getting to here is people who are in sports professionally, or you know, anyone whose job involves being physically fit tend to make better traders. Like look at the companies back in the day that used to recruit, right? They loved athletes. I guess what I'm saying is the relationship of staying fit is one of like the earliest experiences people have with discipline.
Yeah.
Because especially if you start earlier on and you're like teenage years and you're like, I want to get jacked for girls. That's how it starts, right? Like, everybody wants that. But then you're like, wow, this is more about a relationship with myself.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Like it's a huge disciplinary factor. Like when you're a kid and you have to go to like all these like practices and tryouts and whatnot, like it builds discipline as you grow up and like you start, it becomes routine. It starts to like be a part of your life that you're used to, and it like structures your life a lot better, which I'm a firm believer, regardless of where you trade or where you travel, like structure is key. Do whatever the hell you want on your free time, but like you got to make sure that these things are like thought out and planned, because obviously you're there to do whatever you want in your free time.
Yeah.
But like it is, you're also able to be there because you're going to be focused and trade well.
Exactly. I found people who learn trading and become successful traders the quickest are the ones that just learn trading, because there's some people who have to start out learning discipline and structure and trading. And I think for those people, it's a bit more of a challenge if you haven't developed discipline in other areas of your life.
The disciplinary factor is such a big thing. Like I cannot stress it enough, because like it starts from like discipline to one, trade your plan, because that goes out the window very, very quickly, and people get into like zombie mode, and by the time they wake up, they're like, what the hell did I just do? I had this plan and look where I'm at right now.
Exactly.
Another factor is like being disciplined enough to like review and journal. Like what I've done recently, I've always been journaling, but what I've done recently that's like helped a lot, especially in our community, is I've made a tab in our Discord that's Vic's Trade Journals. Every day after the bell, I'll post a full breakdown of the plan versus how I traded on the day, right? Obviously in the morning, everyone sees how I trade. The trades are all there. Well, like the explanation behind it, if I take in trades in the afternoon and whatnot. So like that really, really helps, because it's there. You review it, you know what you did well, you know what you did poorly, because one day this week, it wasn't a bad day, but I didn't trade well. So I had some slip ups and mistakes. Put it all in the journal. Huge review, especially the days that you do poorly. The next day, that next day was the same as the prior day, and I said, I am not going to get caught up in this bullshit. And it was fantastic, like fantastic day. It was like back to back the same scenario. So it's like, it's in your mind. Like the more you do it, you remember these things. It was right there. I'm like, listen, I made this exact same mistake. Like this is not going to happen again.
Yeah, I think like this is I think the part from traveling and trading people don't realize is that to do it successfully takes probably the most amount of discipline ever. Because you go to a new country, new things. It's nice when you're packing to be like, I'm gonna be on my A game.
Yeah.
And then you go to this new country and you're like,
okay, beach time, beer time.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
Like, whatever.
Your friend's like, hey man, we got invited to a yacht party. Let's
I'll be like,
and then that's
not
the
that
biggest
serious.
day of trading, and you miss that. The next day, you know. So it's like I think it's a very disciplined thing. So if you kind of have areas in your life where you're lacking discipline, I think trading and traveling is a good little reward to give yourself to implement discipline first.
I've grown a lot as a trader over the past few years, like trading and traveling, because like it instills more discipline in you. Because if you want to be, it's a lot harder than if you're sitting at your comfort spot at home.
Yeah,
like it is a lot harder because you have all these external factors and all of these internal psychological factors that you have to like create comfort for yourself in these areas to be able to perform well. However, if you have that down pat, right, it's an amazing opportunity to look at the market in different time zones, right, in different environments, right, and then your reward is the rest of your day.
Yeah,
do whatever the hell you want.
I have a story, Victorio, that you're part of for trading, and I think like this is hands down my favorite traveling trading.
When we were in Bulgaria.
Like, yeah, the Bulgarian one. So I remember we went with one of my friends, and Vicky's like a mutual friend of ours. Name's, well, whatever, we won't leave the name, but I remember that like we held it together, but one day we're like,
oh my,
yeah, we're like, let's bring the laptop with us and let's bring the environment to where we're going. But it wasn't an Airbnb; it was like the beach. It was like cacao, right? Remember cacao? Like
it was sunny beach, Bulgaria. Like a lot of you listeners, if you're in Europe, you for sure know sunny.
Yeah.
No matter where you are in Europe, like you know sunny beach.
So we're like in Slunchevrak in Bulgaria, but yeah, sunny beach, and we're sitting there, and I'm like, oh shoot, I'm like, we have to open up the trading room, and I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna go up there and get the laptop, or go there and do the trading room. You guys hang out here. I'll come back. And then I come back with the laptop.
That was one of, you're not telling the other day.
Yeah.
The other day's story where I was like, you went the first day. I said, you know what, George, I'll go the other day and I'll just stay there and do it, right? And he was like, okay. And I was like, I'm gonna go run the trading room. It's gonna be fine. You guys just like chill, enjoy. Like it's vacation time. Realistically, that's why you're here. Like your friend, our friend was like, he was gonna be. Not that he doesn't have a good time with Reese, but like he came all the way to Bulgaria.
Yeah,
well, he was in Serbia, but like whatever.
Yeah.
So he came all the way to like hang out and do some like fun stuff. Like it can't just be only weekends and like select times. I'm like, you know what? I'll go. Like you guys are childhood friends, right? So
yeah.
I'll go trading room, and like I had one beer before because I know I gotta be on my A game. So like I leave, I go, I come back after like 3-4 hours maybe. I kid you not. Like both of them together, I think it was around 40 beers.
Yeah.
Like there were bottles. Okay, let's not go crazy. But like, I was like, what the hell did you guys do?
In 2 hours, we went to town. Yeah.
What happened?
That was. Thankfully, Vicky held down the trading room because I remember that day we got really sloppy. And you know what surprised me when they brought the bills? Like, this is it.
Yeah, it was.
It was actually a really good like value experience. But I remember the one day when we were actually doing the trading room on the beach. And they had these like white cabanas.
Oh my god!
And I'm sitting in the corner and there's like white cabana.
He's got his like shirt over his head because he can't see the screen or whatever it is.
So much glare. I had the towel over my head
and everywhere.
Yeah, then sand in my laptop. The mic is rubbing against the towel,
and like the wind's blowing. So just
and I'm like
the worst sound ever.
And I'm like 15 to 20 minis long on a trade. I'm down like 3K. I flipped the towel open to see what you guys are doing. Vicky's like. All like he has these like super short European shorts, chilling in the corner and just bobbing his head. I look at Alex, his big hairy chest is out. He's clapping like an ape. I see like bottles everywhere, people running around. Reese is just like trying to ignore you guys. You guys are just vulture mode. I put the towel back over my head.
You came back that day.
I did come back.
You came back that day.
I was down big during the room. I was down like 3-4K, and then like it's funny because you were describing having your space carved out, your environment, and that day my environment was literally the towel. That was my trading office. I flipped the towel closed. I'm like, oh my god, I'm down. I'm talking to people in the room. I flip the towel open, and like I look at all the debauchery going on. But it was a very fun moment, honestly. And I remember I did come back that day, but I'm like, man, this is an example of how not to do travel.
Yeah, for sure.
If we had a camera on us though, bro, that day, that's a viral video.
That would have been.
We missed an opportunity.
We could have vlogged so hard.
Yeah, it was actually like one of those days where you watch the video of other people doing it and you have FOMO. You're like, I want to be there. Yeah. It was super fun. But that was one of my like really fond memories of traveling. And then I have traveled and traded. Like one of my other kind of cool memories was the exact opposite in Bali. I had like this crazy villa, and it was so dope to just like look away from the monitor, and then everything I saw, like just the energy, it was like a rainforest. Everything was calm and peaceful.
Yeah,
it really like centered me and brought me back to the screen. So I've had my experience of it, but I would say nobody that I've known has done trading and traveling better than you. So I was like,
appreciate it. That's a good topic, honestly. Like with these little exchanges when we don't know like what to talk, right? It is fun. You don't know what you're getting yourself into, but like it makes it way more entertaining and conversational. It's not like anything that's scripted, blah blah. You're gonna learn a lot as well, and like you're gonna understand kind of where we're coming from, because like I had that amazing opportunity to like travel and trade right through trading realistically, and like you don't want to squander stuff like that, so you gotta keep that momentum pumping. And like at the beginning, like I did have like some slip ups realistically, because like it wasn't to the extent of Bulgaria when we were in the like the freaking booth over there.
I'll never forget Alex with his hairy chest, like he's like fully off beat. Like I'm like, what are you listening to, bro? He's clapping like off time.
It's some like trans techno music that's being played at this place.
Like his chest hair shaking, and a little gold chain. I'm like, oh man, it was crazy. But yeah, traveling's been fun. So like, what are some tips you would give to people that aren't a parent? Like it's obviously a parent to have your technology. Yeah, but like what's something that
I think like the biggest like misconception about it that we talked a lot about today is like realistically your expectations of how it's going to go, and like the actual, I guess, like seriousness that goes into the thought process of planning your environment and like how you're going to approach this thing, right? Like you want to section your day off. You don't want to just go like willy-nilly and be like, all right, well, I got drunk by 12. I got to trade in an hour. Let's see how this goes. It's irresponsible. Like if you're like, think of it as any other job. Like you're not gonna, like, if you're an engineer or whatever it is, you're a doctor, you're not gonna get blasted at lunch, then come back and see what happens, see what happens. Like,
just because you can.
Just because you can doesn't mean that it's a responsible thing to do. At the end of the day, it's your money. It's something that you're trying to grow. You're trying to be able to experience more of these traveling and trading experiences, not just the one,
Yeah.
So, like, I think people should really think about the time that they're spending in whatever place you want to go to. And like, think, is it feasible to travel and trade there? Or if you're there for a week, just enjoy the freaking week,
Love it, man.
Like if you're there for a month, yeah, of course. But like you're there for a few days, just enjoy it to the fullest capabilities, because the market's going to be there when you get back. Like it's not all about that. You have to split it up. Otherwise, it's not going to be fun.
Or don't. Just go on a complete vacation.
But yeah, exactly.
That's another option too. I just always found it, I think with trading, one of those things where you're like, when you do it successfully, you're like, I'm not really doing that much. When it's all rhythm and you're like, it feels easy some days, the good days. But then you step away from it for a week and you try to get back into it and you lose it so quick. Not the ability to trade, but just like that constant environment. So that's why I only traded when I traveled, because I needed to. Otherwise, like there's benefit in just traveling and not doing it. But just understand that if you are going to do it, it's so much more structured than you think. It's like, you're almost going to go somewhere for 2 weeks, but you're going to be actually having vacation for a week. Your time is going.
You're right. Like I've been wanting to go to Japan for 2 years now, so this is my next big destination that I'm thinking of. Yeah, but like the only thing that's been holding me back for the last 2 years has been the time zone. I'm trying to figure out like, what am I going to do with this freaking time zone? Yeah, because I'm going to be a zombie after the first week. I'll probably die. Like
Yeah, we don't want that. What's the time zone like? What would you have to
I'd
do?
start trading at like 9 p.m., you know, like into the night. So it's like is very, very deep into the night, the Asian hours. So
But maybe you'll see something other than a bar that way.
for sure. Like you're right. So I've been like thinking about it, and like my thought process, if I'm gonna go there, it's gonna be for like 3 months minimum, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, not minimum, because as a non-Japanese citizen and resident, that's my maximum.
So
But
careful there.
yeah. So like I guess like a month and a half to 2 months minimum, because I want to be able to, like, because the first like few days are going to be tragic, right? I'm probably not going to be trading number one big or trading at all. I'm going to be trading very small, trying to adjust to these things, because I really want to see the country, but I need to as well trade for that period of time, because it's also super far. I'm not going to go to Japan for a week. It's ridiculous.
Yeah. It's not worth. You wouldn't see anything.
Yeah.
It's kind of like those athletes. I don't know. I'm thinking of a specific story, but I forget the name. But I'm sure a lot of them have the same story. One guy said, it's not a direct quote, but he's like, I've traveled. Like, what is it like traveling in all these countries? And he's like, I've traveled to all of them, but when I retire, I'm looking forward to going back.
The scene and you.
Yeah, you know, like, yeah, you're practicing in a different like basketball arena. It's still a basketball court. You know what I mean? Like, same thing. So it's kind of the same with trading. Is like you lose part of the experience because you have to put that work in. But if you just segment it, like, here's work time and then here's party time, and I think like, for me, one of the most dangerous things would be like the company that you bring around you too.
Yeah, for sure.
You know?
Yeah, 100%.
They got to kind of be respectful of the fact that, hey, if I'm going to come, it has to be on these terms.
Yeah, 100%.
I don't know. My circle of friends are all animals. There's no respect.
I've curated mine.
Yeah.
I have party travel friends and just normal travel friends.
Do the party travel friends know that they're just party travel friends?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They just know that they're in my life because of that reason alone.
Yeah.
We're not that close. We just like to get drunk together.
Yeah. The authenticity of that answer wasn't what you said, but how you said it. Like, yeah. Yeah, of course. Slap on it. Well, that's awesome, man. I think we got a lot of value out of this. I think we covered a lot of topics. Anything I didn't ask you? Because I honestly had 42 questions.
No, I didn't.
No, I didn't. I had 15 questions, but now I'm looking at them and we kind of, through the natural flow, covered them all.
Yes.
Like, here's one that we didn't. Have you met other traders while traveling, and did you learn anything from them that you
Actually, I have.
Yeah?
Just once, though.
Just one?
Yeah, just once.
So 1 out of 20 some odd.
Yeah, just one trader. But because, like, the thing is, like, I'm not, like, sitting at cafes as, like, it's portrayed on social media trading, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I don't do stuff like that. It's, like, more, like, through conversation when you meet people, when you're out and, like, doing activities that, like, you come across. Like, what do you do? Like, oh, like, I trade. And, like, one of the other, like, someone else was like, oh, I do too. But he was, like, a bond trader or something.
Oh, nice. Like an actual trader.
Yeah.
A lot of times there'll be people like that, and they'll be like, yeah, I trade too. I just, like, bought, like, GME or something.
No. Yeah. No, like, he was, like, he was a bond trader, like, bond futures. That's what he did. And I was like, okay, cool.
Yeah. That's nice.
But yeah, didn't really, like, kind of trade the same way, honestly. Like, similar style.
Do you still keep in contact with him?
No.
No?
It was a day-long type scenario, you know.
Day friend.
It was a day friendship. It, like, the characters didn't mash, you know. It's not like someone I like.
Yeah.
It's like an acquaintance.
I mean, some situations have an expiry date.
Yeah.
You know, and it just met its expiry date. I'm still thinking about Alex. Bro, also this camera angle, I'm looking at the camera right now and the way it's looking at you and the camera angle. This is actually, don't move, please. Like, imagine watching this on YouTube, by the way, the YouTube podcast up. This is how you look, but with like a colorful Speedo. And then like these shades, bro, and your hair was like perfectly gelled. And I remember looking at you once, because this is like after the drinks, like the trading was done. And you did the little like pec flex. I was like, all right, Mickey, yeah.
No words, just
Yeah. No,
you like what you see.
I couldn't even see your eyes. You had the sunglasses on. You did the pec flex for a good like 10 seconds. I was just like at least we're living life. It was a fun experience. I'm happy I got to travel and trade.
Yeah.
You know, and I think you've given people a lot of like actual tangible advice of what you should do if you're gonna try to do it. You know, but
The novelty wears off unless you plan longer trips, I would say. I think it's a great experience for like a year, let's say, and do it wisely as well. I think it's a fantastic experience, but it does get very draining and you need like a very long break and then go again, right?
Awesome. So other than Japan, we'll wrap it up on this. Other than Japan, what other places do you have in mind?
South America.
South America travel.
Time zone's very similar. A lot of development has been going on over the past like few years in South America, like a lot of beautiful cities and countries to see. They've fixed a lot of their like criminal problems in a lot of countries as well, which was like deterring me before.
But you look Brazilian. They'd leave you alone in Brazil.
In South America in general, they probably leave me.
Yeah. They
Like,
would.
maybe not Argentina because they're kind of like very fair skinned there,
Yeah.
surprisingly. But like generally, I'd like to do South America. I was held back before because like it's very big, it's very vast, and it wasn't like super safe everywhere, and I'd be limited to the places. But like it's developed a lot, so I want to be able to like kind of go to a lot of places and not be kind of limited to like select spots.
Here's my prediction for your South America trip. It's gonna be fun. You're probably gonna get like used to trading really well there, and like build yourself a nice routine. And you're gonna meet your future wife there.
Maybe a lot of traders go to South America and they just stay.
Yeah. Well, that's what I was gonna ask you as a last question. Like, is there a place where you're eventually thinking right now you might call home for like a longer term, like home base?
I don't know about countries, but like Europe, like I've always wanted to live in and move to Europe. Like when I was younger, I'd go every year for months on end, and like I've always wanted to just like go back and experience it, like really, really experience it full time as like a citizen there, and like it met my expectations and beyond. You know how some people like they romanticize certain, I wouldn't go to Paris, but they were like Paris is the prime example. You romanticize Paris, you get there, you're like, oh my god, I wasted so much money.
Yeah, it's like a tourist trap.
It's disgusting. Like it's there's a lot to see there, but like it's very romanticized. But there's a like the romanticizing of countries is such a big thing, and like I had a little sneaky suspicion that would happen when I was in Europe, but like like I had no want to go back.
Well, it's amazing. I'm happy you found your kind of home base. And like to the point about Paris, I remember I went with Reese
after Bulgaria.
Yeah, after Bulgaria, exactly, after that same trip. And I remember, like, obviously we were on a high of the time we spent together. We did fun, like, boys trips, but this is more, like, for us. So I was transitioning to that kind of energy. And I remember, like, getting this beautiful place in Paris. Reese wanted to, like, a B&B or hotel that actually looks out and you could...
Like, one of those, like, the last, what's it called? Like, the floor, like
top floor, right?
With like
Champs-Élysées.
Yeah, like with the classic like roof and like the little like balcony, maybe Juliet balcony or something.
Exactly, and like we paid like good money to be there, and we're sitting there, and then Reese lost her wallet. I went to like Louis Vuitton and bought her all this stuff just to give her an experience. And then I remember just coming out of the shower one time, looking out, and I look at the Eiffel Tower, and I'm like, "What's the big deal? It doesn't even move." And there's like. I was like, what a waste,
dude.
But yeah,
the waste is I went to Paris 6 times last year.
Yeah,
like not even by choice. It was just like it happened. Like my mom came to Europe, so we met up in Paris. I went there for New Year's with some friends. One of my friends was gonna be there, so I went there. And then like that happened another few times. I was like, pick literally any other country and city.
Yeah. It's like you do it a couple of times, you've done it enough.
Yeah.
Wait, were we in Paris together?
No.
Where did all your credit cards get destroyed? Was that Bulgaria?
Of course.
I remember you got stuck coming home from that trip, remember?
Yeah.
And all your cards, you're
all
like,
my cards
left, then one would get nuked every day, and you had nothing at the end.
Yeah. When I came back to Toronto, they called me. They're like, we have a bunch of fraudulent transactions. They're super maxed. And I'm like, where? They're like, in Sofia. I'm like, I haven't been in Sofia for 2 weeks. There's no way it's me.
Yeah, listen, our people, we're both Bulgarian, are like, a good 40% of our country's GDP is credit card.
Probably.
Would you agree with?
Probably. Ridiculous.
But they didn't spare us. We're Bulgarian.
They did not.
But yeah, man, listen, it was nice talking to you. Thank you for the value you gave them, and it was cool. It was a cool podcast.
I appreciate it. It was a good one. I was not expecting that at all, and I hopefully you guys got a lot of value in that. If you're romanticizing traveling and trading, or if you're thinking about doing it, right? This is my perception of it. Like I've done it for a while, and like. This is how I'm going to continue to do it. Obviously, I made mistakes at the beginning where, like, these things happen. You kind of let loose a little, but then you come back and you do terrible trading. And you're like, you know what? No, I got to go back to my routine.
Yeah.
So, like, these are the things that you have to consider if you're wanting to travel and trade. I think that you got to be very aware of what you're getting yourself into before you just jump into it.
And that was great, man. Thank you for all the tips. One closing thought. I'll never
The
forget.
monkey. His clapping symbol.
He looked like a Sasquatch. A Sasquatch like a cow beach. Oh man. There, guys. See you in the next episode.
Take care, everyone.